Yeah. And so you were at the Cannes Film Festival and moderated several panels. Tell us about some of the feedback that you got from the other experts in the industry that are, using the software in different ways.
Yeah, that was such a fun event. So, uh, who was it? So it was Paul Trillo from to put together this really amazing day of panels. I moderated both the creatives panel and also the diversity and inclusion panel, and so had a really wonderful range of perspectives from the artists working with these tools and also those who are advocating for these tools in larger ethical advocacy sort of positions. And so the creatives panel was with Paul Trillo, who's a director with Art Class, Alexia Adana, who's the VP and creative director for Edelman, Don Allen Stevenson, who's a XR advisor and AI futurist. He's awesome. Nathan Shipley, who is the director of AI at the time at Goodby Silverstein and Partners. He's kind of doing his own thing now. And then Josephine Miller, who is an XR art director and co-founder of OR Studio. And they all had very interesting, unique, rich perspectives on how they use AI. It was mostly a conversation where it sort of bounced around from different folks, echoing each other's points of views, diving in to maybe topics that weren't talked about as often. And some of the things we talked about were how these new tools have given us all a lot of freedom to create with a new with a new feeling of agility and speed and playfulness that we might have lost a little bit in the job. And we talked about the democratization of creativity, real world problem solving with AI. Alexia was talking about how she literally reimagined herself as the main character of different films. And so it's really like being able to see yourself as these characters and like talk about identity politics shifting, where you can sort of imagine yourself as a person in a role that you would have never maybe seen yourself as. Daisy chaining multiple AI tools, which is basically like taking one and tagging it onto another and creating basically a recipe of different AI tools that work together. Um, we talked about seeing AI as a storytelling partner that allows us to expand our own imagination. For example, with ChatGPT, there's a DALL-E plugin which allows you to do image generation, but you can also ask it to tell stories. And so you can say, like, we're in an elevator on the 14th floor. This is something that Paul Trillo was talking about, that he was using it as a story partner, where he was giving it the context for the beginning of a story and asking it to finish it. And then he would take what it gave him and go to like the next phase of the story. And it almost becomes like if you're telling a bedtime story, it's like a bedtime story partner. You're kind of
Yeah.
jumping from one edge to another. Um, and then finally, we really talked a lot about ethics, the ethics of creativity, the ethics of choosing to essentially regulate yourself and recognize what are you comfortable with in terms of uh, how you prompt, whether you use artists' names or not, what you think about using, how you think about using these tools, knowing that they have been trained on artists' data and artists' images, exploring ethics with a human first perspective, and also not being afraid to experiment all of the time and reiterate on your processes all of the time, so that we can push the envelope for what's possible, but also not lose sight of the implications of what we want to bring forward to humanity, which is like mindfulness and thoughtfulness and
Yes.
ethical process.
Yes. And those ethics are so important. Souki, you guys did a deep dive there, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about AI and its impacts in Hollywood and on entertainment and how you can implement them for your business. We'll be back.